Morning. All right, because I think that this is going to be a big discussion with lots of questions, and I'd like to be able to make sure that we are cognizant of you all's time as well, I'm going to go ahead and have us get started, and we can just add people as they come in. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming. We have representatives today from 3 of our local banks. We have Nate Salas with Green. We have Julie Johnson and Carl Allen with State Bank of Cross Plains, and Brendan Wilkinson with First Community Bank. And I want to thank you all for coming in today. We're going to go over, I'd like to start out with giving some information about the loan options that are available, and allowing each of you to kind of give a little bit of information about your background and what you're seeing with the loans. So I know that there are small business loans, the EIDL, and then the Paycheck Protection Program. And I wanted to just note, are you guys working with both of those, or are you working with one specifically? And then if you want to, when you respond, I'll just call on each of you if you just want to say who you are again, so people can kind of get your voices or your photos for those of us on video. John, do you want to start? Or I'm sorry, Brendan, do you want to start?
Yeah. So we are really focused on the PPP program right now. The EIDL is a direct customer to SBA program. And really our primary demand has been on the PPP program. So that's, if customers, business owners have not looked into it, they should give their local bank a call, because it appears to be a pretty darn good deal for them.
Julie and Carl?
Yeah, we're here. So we're working with the PPP program. That's where most of our efforts have been focused. We refer to the EIDL as the idle loan. That's kind of the way the phraseology is going. So that's the loan I'm talking about. That is a direct application to SBA. The thing to recognize there is that is a loan, and a PPP starts as a loan, but it can be forgiven, turned into a grant. So there's a very big difference there between the two programs. The EIDL you do apply for through the SBA, but things to know about EIDL, you can use it for fixed debt, payroll, accounts payable, and other bills that could have been paid, but you couldn't because your business was closed. You just cannot, you can get both loans, but you can't cross the type of that you do for those. So if you apply for the PPP and use it for payroll, you cannot use the EIDL loan for that.
EIDL loan is what, 3.375%? A PPP loan, the unforgiven portion is 1%. So there's a big difference there.
And that's Carl?
Yeah.
Nate, would you like to add any information about what you guys are doing, what you're seeing?
I think the other banks covered it. You know, the EIDL loan is direct to the SBA, and then the PPP can be forgivable. I think everybody has to understand it's not automatically forgiven. It's important to understand, you know, the details around the 8 weeks subsequent to the funding. But I'm sure we'll get into that. The only thing I'd say on the EIDL loan that they made a change to from the initial release of it a couple of weeks ago is you can request up to $10,000 to, you know, be funded. They say within 3 days. I'm not sure if I heard anybody getting the $10,000 from the SBA/Treasury in 3 days, but you can request that. And if you're not approved, they've said they're going to treat that as a forgivable grant or loan, I guess, forgivable loan, until it's more of a grant at that point in time.
If somebody is looking to apply for the PPP loan, what do they need to have? What records do they need? What's the easiest way for them to be able to do that?
For the PPP loan?
Yeah.
You're talking about okay. I'm sure every bank has it different. This is Julie, State Bank. We have it right online. So you go to our website at www.fbcp.com eligibility.bank. And then you will see an orange kind of ribbon that talks about coronavirus. You click on that, and the application is all done electronically. And then you do it electronically, send it to us, send you a secure link to then send us back your supporting documents.
Within 24 hours.
Yeah, you get it fairly quick, and then we move it on. So everything's done electronically. Nobody has to come in or drop paperwork off.
We are handling, as Brendan at First Community Bank, we're handling it a little bit differently in that we're fielding customer calls and then emailing a similar document package and application, which is if customers have not had an opportunity to see the application, it really couldn't be more simple or basic. There's only 8 yes or no questions and very limited information needed. And we have a very simple request package that goes along with it. For most customers, I'd imagine it's not taking, less than an hour, certainly, if not a half an hour, for them to fill it out and assemble the needed information.
Yeah, don't let the application scare anybody because it's pretty simple.
And these loan amounts are up to $10 million, so none of our customers should scale out of the program or eligibility.
This is Carl. There also is a worksheet along with the application that calculates the amount of loan that you can get approved for. So I would suggest the customers have their 2019 tax returns handy when they're filling out the application and the worksheet.
Yep, that's helpful.
Nate, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, we're doing it where it's got to be a customer of our bank, just based on the demand and our ability to serve, all the requests that are coming in. So we've limited to that. If you're a current customer, whether it's deposit or a loan relationship, we'll entertain the application. And that, I would say, contact the bank. That way we can send you the application directly. Regarding the documentation, we have a very brief checklist of what you should send in regarding the 940 or 941s, or if you've got, the 2019 internal payroll tax reports, that type of documentation. And so it's pretty straightforward. And as someone else made the point earlier, I would imagine it takes more time just pulling together the documentation than actually doing the application. The application is pretty simple and straightforward.
Yeah.
Speak to who's eligible for the loan. Who should be looking into this? What types of businesses?
Well, this is Brendan with First Community Bank. The important part for the forgiveness is probably a common conversation I've had is for my restaurant and bar customers, they will have to demonstrate that there was payroll paid in this 8 to 9 week forgiveness period. So that's probably a little tricky for some folks who are temporarily shut down. Other than that, really there are no excluded businesses that I can think of. This program does cover nonprofits. For example, the Youth Center in Milton and a number of the nonprofits in our communities should and can and should apply for these. Religious organizations are included. Normal SBA programs, they're excluded. So it's pretty broad and wide open. But I would encourage anybody who's interested in learning more to, again, contact their local bank. But this is a very broad and wide open program.
Sole proprietorships will start on Friday, the applications and contractors. So we'll be getting that information out as soon as it's available. They're still working. I'm assuming we might not get if the app changes in any way, won't get that till the last minute. But do be aware that if you're a sole proprietorship, you still can apply for the PPP. And I guess one other thing I want to make sure and include, we have a lot of farmers, and I'm sure there's not a farmer that's calling in. Maybe there is, that'd be awesome. But they can qualify for this program too. So if you have a farmer that you know who thinks they're not able to qualify, we've been reaching out to all of ours, but please pass it on that this program is for them, either if they apply now, if they're a C Corp, S Corp, LLC, or if they are considered a sole proprietorship and can start on Friday. It would be a good program for them to look at too.
And when people get the application, whether it's via email or online or however you're doing them, is there, if they have questions or need supporting information or wondering if they're qualified, are those questions that you guys can help field?
Definitely, yes. It's Julie. Yes, definitely. That's pretty much, we've just been on the phone with our customers nonstop since the introduction of this program. We have a lot of nice brochures and flyers. We're also sending out to them things how to figure income, just so they can absorb it too, and have it in front of them if they want to have any extra questions or want to just absorb it on their own too.
Yeah, I think a good, because the program is changing almost minute by minute, for sure, day by day, definitely worth reaching out at the bank. But, going to the treasury.gov website, there's a banner that says COVID-19. If you click there, they're updating, most recent, a lot of FAQs, guidance for borrowers, for lenders, the application. It's probably one of the most up-to-date sites, obviously, coming in its information that is verifiable and quality. So other than the bank, if you're a business owner, I would put that in your browser and save it, because that's where updates are coming through. And there's some good guidance there.
Mm-hmm. What about the timing? So when should they apply? How soon does the application, or how long does the application process take? And then when can they expect to receive the funds if they are approved?
This is Brendan again. I'll maybe start it. The other banks maybe have a different answer. The banks around the country are having different experiences accessing E-Tran. We're in the group that still does not have access to E-Tran, which is the system to input these loans. So as a First Community Bank customer applies, we are, documenting kind of their place in line, and hopefully today we're going to start inputting. I would assume within a couple weeks funding would start to happen. It's an easy application process. The SBA input guarantee number part is, and the funding is the slowdown part of it. So as somebody else mentioned, this is changing but minute by minute. So I would just say work with your bank and be a little patient. What folks are hearing on the news, so that just kind of show up to your bank and pick up this check is erroneous. So bring some patience along with your documentation.
We are set up with E-Tran and have about 60% of our applications through. So we're hoping that once they get the document that we'll need our customers to sign, there will be some funding, but they are giving us really no indication of how long that could be. It could be a week, it could be a month. We don't know for sure. So definitely work with your banker. We have on our website where you can apply. So far we have 90% of our applicants are customers and 10% are non-customers. So we are processing for non-customers too.
This is Nate at Greenwoods. We're kind of taking a dual-pronged approach because of the volume. We're handling them in-house. And then we've got a partner that we've worked with in the past called WBD, and they submit other SBA loans for us from time to time. And so we started using them as well. As far as our E-Tran ability, it opened up yesterday for us. So right now we're probably through about 15, maybe 20% of the entire applicants, I should say. Our timing and our expectation is we've been working kind of around the clock here since yesterday. So our goal is to get completed applications that we received here up through yesterday to get submitted by the end of this week. As far as funding goes, yeah, again, everybody else said, we've gotten some stuff back already that we started submitting yesterday, showing it's funded. So it's kind of trickling in. Our expectation is to fund, within a week of receiving the authorization and funding verification from the SBA.
Maybe a follow-up comment too to all the banks is maybe if customers just know and understand that banks are receiving information similar to the drip of a faucet, and sometimes the rules change from day to day. So just patience and give your banker a call. We're all the local banks want to help customers, and but we are learning as we go here a little bit.
Yes, Brandon's right. I think I've never felt so unsure sometimes as the programs change daily or hourly. So definitely we're on top of the information. It's just that it keeps changing. So yes, thank you, Brandon, for that point.
And to that, what's your acceptance rate of the approval? And then what do people need to be aware of as they're moving through? Are they automatically approved for the forgivable part, or are they just approved for the loan? How would you advise people to work with it while they're going through this process?
Okay, I'll start. This is Brendan again. So no customer should assume that the loan will be 100% forgiven. There is a worksheet that we walk through with our customers as they apply for what portions we expect to be forgiven, which is predominantly payroll, although the loan can be used for other things such as mortgage interest and utilities and whatnot. I think there's a lot of uncertainty, I guess, speaking for First Community Bank, and once we get to that 9-week window and we start to actually process some of these forgiveness requests, we'll be able to answer that question a little more confidently. Right now, I'm just telling people, as we said before, document what you're using the money for. Creating a separate deposit account is a great idea for that. And if anything is not forgiven, the good news is that it comes with a 1% loan interest rate. So it's inexpensive money at the end of the day. But I don't know that there's a guarantee we can give our customers right now.
No, that's the way we're looking at it. Cannot guarantee what's going to happen at the end. So remember that and earmark those funds accordingly.
And this is Carl. Loan has a 6-month deferment if they want to keep the loan on the books, and then they'll have 18 months to pay it back.
And there's no prepayment on these loans from what I understand either. So if any portion's not forgiven, you're able to just pay it off if you're able to.
Right.
Dave, did you have anything that you needed to add?
I think we're all approaching the same way. Just be cautious, and be very mindful of the money once the loan funds are, given to you. You've got that 8-week period, and you've got to be meticulous in tracking it. That's all the guidance we have right now. So nothing's guaranteed, but please make sure you use them for eligible expenses. I think the key to remember is that 75% of those loan funds, as of guidance right now, need to be applied towards payroll and benefit expenses. So the max you can use, the max percentage of loan funds you can use is 25%. You can use that on the utility mortgage interest expense. I think it's the one thing we're telling customers is be mindful of the percentage of money that's going towards other expenses beyond the payroll benefits portion.
Are there any limitations that you're aware of, whether it's types of business or limitations on employees? I've heard rumors that there might be $1,000 per employee, even regardless of the 2.5 times payroll. Are you guys hearing any of that, or is there anything anybody should be aware of in regards to limitations that might come up that might apply to them?
Well, the payroll, you're talking about the 100,000, is that basically the guidance on that is if you've got, for instance, an employee that's making 120,000, you can include, their gross wages up to 100,000. You have to back out that amount. So in this case, 20,000. You have to back that out of your calculation to do your average monthly, gross payroll amount. So it's excluding the amount they're making above 100,000 in that calculation. But the benefits for that person are included. You don't have to back out their benefits. It's just a matter of their gross wages above 100,000.
And I'm not aware of any other exclusions other than the 500 employees or less than the 100,000 wage component are the two biggest ones.
So businesses that are sole proprietors or 1099s, that application is starting on Friday. Is that going to be a different application? They do the same process where they would just either look online or contact you for information? I know it's still early and a lot of you might not have the information yet, but have a way that is the best way for people to be able to find out whether they can apply and the process for that?
Yes.
Yeah, they'll be able to apply. I think where some of the clarification needs to come in yet is how they apply for the amount, how they figure the amount that they will qualify for, because obviously some may not have a specific payroll for themselves, maybe some different draws or things like that. So I think we really need to nail down exactly how they're going to figure that amount. That's my understanding. I don't know if any of the other bankers have anything different to add on that.
I was just talking to Rose Oswald with WBA, Wisconsin Bankers Association, this morning, and she wasn't able to verbalize how that would work either. So it makes me feel a little more confident that if our trade association is still getting their arms around it, the information will be put out here shortly.
And then to that, is there any, I've been hearing conflicting information about like 501c6s or trade associations or those types of businesses, whether they are eligible for this program or not. Some are saying yes, some are saying no. Just from the chamber's perspective, I was curious if that was something that you guys had gotten clarification on.
This is Brendan with First Community. I have not seen an exclusion for 501(c)(6)s, so I know 501c3s are eligible, churches are eligible. Can either of you two answer that?
This is Carl. Christina and I have talked about it, and I did some research. The 501(c)(6)s are not eligible.
They are not. Okay.
I don't know how many other associations I might apply for, but I had heard that might be the case. So
the top of the app seems to spell it out, but there is that other box that makes it a gray area.
Do we have any questions from anybody that is on the call? That's all good. John, do you, anybody have anything that we didn't address?
This is Jason. No, I'm good. I actually just sent out an email to all the businesses kind of talking about the program. So they will hopefully all be contacting all you banks soon to take advantage of it.
Great.
Awesome. I guess my last 2 cents is for everyone to take care and hang in there. And if you've got a question on the financial side, please call us and we'll help you through this.
Yeah, this is Brendan with First Community again. This is an important and very unusual resource provided to banks to help customers. So I would encourage anybody and everybody to take advantage while the opportunity is here. And also wash your hands.
Yeah, as Mary
Well, if
Greenwood.
there isn't, yeah, go ahead, Nate.
You know, again, I think everybody's talked about it. Just reach out to your banking source. It's changing frequently. We're doing our best. We're going to inform you, keep you up to date. But if you're hearing rumors, you're hearing from somebody else, please just go to the source. As I said, either call the bank or go to treasury.gov. But there's so much misinformation that gets reported, or people don't understand the program. And I just think that ask the questions, dig into it. But the idea that at least I'm seeing from having other SBA work is they're trying to make this as flexible and as open as possible, unlike other programs they've instituted. So that gives, from a banker perspective, gives me some hope that this is going to do some real good.
Yeah, I think that we've had businesses that tried to apply for the EIDL and they got, when it first came out and it was much more detailed, and they got a little bit step back, so they're having a little bit of hesitation applying for these programs. So we're just trying to encourage them to contact all of you to help them walk through or answer any questions.
Yeah, this is very different than the EIDL loan, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
More of a grant feel than a loan feel.
Right.
Yeah, great way of putting it.
John, did you have a question?
Yeah, this is John Fry. I'm just calling and listening on behalf of a self-employed hairstylist, and obviously a self-employed hairstylist doesn't have payroll, so maybe the PPP loan grant process may not be currently available for someone of this nature, but it sounds like maybe coming on Friday or early next week, maybe more information will be available for this type of self-employed person to apply. And so I'll just keep an eye on the U.S. Treasury.gov website and keep an eye on the SBA website. One question I do have is we've referred to every people here as banks. Do credit unions? Does this apply? Can someone go through a credit union for this?
I would check with your credit union if that's the avenue you want to take. I think everybody's approaching it differently. I've heard of banks that are not doing it, so I would just give them a call and they'll be able to tell you. I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, as part of the final guidance, they did list that credit unions could be a part of it. I think the farm credit system. So they have to choose to do it or have been already authorized, with the SBA from a lender perspective. So yeah, just call whoever your financial institution is, call them. They'll tell you pretty quickly if they're on board or not on board.
Well, if there aren't any more questions, I just want to thank each of you for coming in and participating in this. As we get more information on that sole proprietor 1099s, we get more questions. So I may kind of again just to check in and see if there's any updates or information that we need to be distributing with that. And then I will be collecting all of the resource and contact information for each of the bankers that are on the call here and listing that on our resource section, and also linking to that treasury.gov website that Nate had suggested on our Evansville Together page too.
Thank you, Christina.
Yeah, thank you each. I really appreciate it.
Likewise. Take care of yourself, everybody.